I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast.
Episode 43. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. I am, of course, Myke Shrews, here with my co-host and friend, Tivis. Tivis, how you doing today, my man?
I'm doing pretty good.
It's
Saturday.
It's a Saturday, yeah. And we have with us two guests with us today, guys, that we're going to be talking about this great movie. Well, to some people it's great, to some people it's not. We'll find out. Rob Zombie's The Munsters, and we would like to welcome one of our guests right now. Back with us is Austin Mosher. Austin, how you doing today, my man?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I already said.
You ready to talk about this movie, dude?
Sure.
All right. Well, let me bring in the other guest. People, please give a, no round of applause for my baby brother, Kenny. Kenny, how you doing today, man?
Pretty good.
Could you hear us off when you're off of the air? I don't know.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Before we get into stuff, though, I do have some housekeeping I need to do.
Okay.
So it's been brought to my attention that I didn't really give a whole lot of time to the cast of the last Munsters Revenge movie we did. And, I understand that. I try really hard to spotlight as much as I can. I had a lot less time to do it last episode, and I apologize for all the stuff I missed, but I actively encourage the rest of, when I go through these, I would like, you guys, if anyone sounds interesting or, you're curious yourself, go look it up. So, okay, I see what you did. The next bit of thing I want to say is we did actively try to have a little bit of a crossover with the Hunters. Keith was going to be on. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it work. So I apologize to those who were hoping for that. But, maybe in the future.
Right. Yeah, definitely. We'll have to hook up with those guys sometime soon. Also, guys, thank you, Kenny and Austin, for joining us today. We wanted to make sure that we had some type of a group discussion, not just me and Tivis again, on this film, especially since it's so out there for opinions, I guess.
That's a word.
Real quick, guys, we do want to remind everybody that the Remind magazine issue of the Munsters is out now. And you can go over to TheMunsterCast.com/remindmag and order your issue. It's pretty great. It has interviews with Rob Zombie about the new movie, Butch Patrick, and then there's other stuff in there with Elvira and who was it? Vampira and Svengoolie. So definitely check this out. I already started doing the crosswords and stuff in here, so this is definitely not a collector's magazine now for me. So
mine is in the mail. I should be getting it sometime next week.
Awesome.
Or this week, as you listen to it, I guess, if you're interested.
Right. But for our audio listeners too, it is TheMunsterCast.com/remindmag, and you can order yourself a copy of that right then and there.
Yeah, and you can also get their backlog is available as well. Yep. I saw when I was on their website. What was last month? September. You were telling me it was Spy Month.
It was Spy Month. So you had Get Smart, Man from U.N.C.L.E., Avengers, and other James Bond stuff like that. So yeah, you had that stuff there from them.
The British Avengers.
And the British Avengers, not Captain
Marvels.
America and Thor and all them. And another thing, guys, definitely check this one out. The day this episode comes out, this movie will be released. It is Marineland Carnival. I don't have a copy to show everybody yet because, of course, it's not out yet. It comes out on the 3rd.
Yeah, we don't get advanced stuff early.
Yeah. So you have go to themunstercast.com/Marineland Carnival. We wrote an article about this coming out. It's finally the first official release this movie has ever had. It was found in the 90s, put in the museum. They forgot about it. It was found back in 2014. and they're finally now doing something with it. And there's going to be a bunch of other stuff on the DVD as well, interviews and all types of stuff with the Munsters in character. So,
And as you're listening to this tomorrow, make sure to let us know. Hey, happy anniversary! We've been doing this for a year.
It's our 1 year anniversary. Another great reason for Austin and Kenny to be here. And they're just sitting here watching us talk about all this random crap because they're like, what's going on? Wait, what? So yeah, this is definitely another reason why we're doing a lot of these pitches too today, because 1 year anniversary, we want to appreciate everybody and let everyone know where they can get this great, awesome Munster swag. And there's one other thing I found, which is a VHS copy of the new Munsters movie. You can go to themunstercast.com/MunsterVHS to order a copy of these. These are definitely for collectors. I actually got a colored version and a black and white version. So if our video people out there,
I was gonna ask, is the black and white actually black and white?
the black and white version is actually in black and white. I pulled my VCR out and started watching it. I got about halfway through till my wife came home and I had to turn it off. As I told Austin. So if you guys are interested in that, if you like the film, or if you just want a cool VHS cassette tape, this place is great for it. It's taperot.com. Or just go to... What's that?
Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt the website. Go ahead and finish.
It's taperot.com, or you can just go to themunstercast.com/MunsterVHS, and it'll take you directly to the page that their video is on.
Now, I think you got Daniel Roebuck's attention with that one, too.
Yeah, Daniel Roebuck liked that. He thought it was pretty cool. And I was very cautious about how I was, like, posting it because I don't want them to get in trouble, you know?
Yes.
So I was like, it's a collector's item. It's definitely a collector's item, you know? Not everybody's going to pull out a VCR and watch Rob Zombie's The Munsters on VCR.
No, just
VCR.
you.
Yeah, just me. Maybe Austin. We'll see. We'll see about his opinions.
Do you have a VHS player?
I actually don't have a VHS player right now. I have a whole bunch of VHS, but I don't have a VHS player.
And you're a movie guy?
I know.
I'm going to send you one. I got 10 of them, so.
Mine's in a trash yard somewhere.
And then again, we are talking about the Munsters Rob Zombie's movie. If you have not ordered this, guys, I recommend it because there's over an hour of BTS.
Oh yeah, it's
on
like
the Blu-ray
2.
itself. I know it's on Netflix. Go watch it on Netflix. Do whatever you got to do for that. But if you want to see the over an hour long documentary type BTS thing, it's the Munster Cast. Oh, go on.
I was going to say, there's also commentary with Rob Zombie himself.
Yeah. The basic stuff, but I was surprised there was over an hour of BTS on this. So if you want to pre-order, if you want to order that, you can go to themunstercast.com/themunstersmovie. We might say a couple things from the documentary, but not too much because I know Kenny and Austin have not seen that. So we're not going to get too deep into that as well.
Are you going to watch it?
Watch what? The documentary? The documentary?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't.
It's just BTS footage. I wouldn't even call it a documentary. It's just like your normal. Well, I guess
it's a really interesting look. I'll like post 2020 in the more safety environment with the stuff. It's interesting.
Right.
I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so with that all said, guys,
we'll do the rest at the end because we want to get to our friends here.
Yes, we'll pitch ourselves at the end. Also, though, I am wearing an awesome Munsters Cast T-shirt.
I need to get that before November arrives. I don't know. I don't know if I can wear that to the polling office though. I might get kicked out.
I'm totally wearing this to the polling office. They can eat it.
They're crazy with that shit.
I mean, it's not a real campaign, so I don't think.
I know, but.
It's not a real anything. It's literally this was a JFK poster, I believe it was, that I took the idea from to make this one. So Anyways, let's dive into this movie, guys, and we'll pitch all that. If you do want to get the shirt, though, it's themunstercast.com/merch, guys. You can go.
We'll pitch it at the end, but here's what
we'll mention it at the end. All right, guys. So how do we're gonna start this off? It's just a conversation. We're not breaking it down scene by scene by scene or anything like that. Do you guys want to give like your thoughts so that we know where everyone's mindset is before we dive into this? Like, did you like it? Did you not like it? We'll go around the table. Tivis, did you like it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Oh, jeez.
Do you want more than that, or are we just doing a quick little?
I crunched ice really bad. No, that's fine.
Okay.
Austin, did you like it or did you not like it?
I didn't, but not for some of the reasons I thought I was not going to like it.
Okay.
So
And
there were things I liked more about it than I thought I would. So
right on. And Kenny, how about you?
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit.
Okay.
Definitely different.
I'm going to be ganged up on here then.
I didn't say if I liked it or not. But I enjoyed it definitely for sure. So let's dive into this. I will say though, this movie did exactly what I wanted it to do, which was bring in a younger audience. My kids really enjoyed this film. My youngest literally watched it with me 2 times in the course of this week. So, that was awesome. He, knows the characters' names. When I wear the shirts now, like this morning and yesterday I was wearing my other Munster Cast shirt. He's like, "Oh, that's Herman." And it's like, yes, it is. Perfect. So you can't ask for anything else besides that, right? Youth into a franchise that's
how you
buried
keep it alive.
by Universal.
Yeah. Oh, don't even get me started.
All right. So how do we want to go? Who's talking first? I'm done talking. I haven't talked enough. Mute.
You want to throw it to Mosher? What do you think about the? What do you want to go to it first? The cast.
Sure. I'll talk about the cast. I loved Daniel Roebuck. I'm going to start with the things I did like, and kind of transition into what I didn't. I loved Daniel Roebuck as Grandpa. I think he was fantastic. I think there were times where he sounded and acted just like Al Lewis that I was like, wow, that is incredible casting and incredible performance by him. I liked Herman. The only thing I think he was a good choice for it. I think he did some things well. Really, like he got the laugh down really well. It drove me absolutely bonkers while watching it was that weird like cracking he kept doing in his voice, like when he's talking. Like it was kind of like a higher pitched, and he kept like cracking his voice, and I'm like, why is he doing that?
I got a reason.
What?
I got the reason why.
Why?
At least in my head, he was just born, so he's going through puberty.
Yeah, I figured that's what you're gonna say.
I don't buy it. It was really annoying. I did not. I thought like if he didn't do the voice crack, I thought it would have been much better. And Sherry Moon Zombie. Her performance was so annoying. I did not like her as Lily at all. I thought that she was acting like a parody of Alexis Rose from Schitt's Creek more than she was being Lily Munster.
I need to watch more of that.
But yeah, that's my general overview. I thought like some of the supporting players were cool. Like it was nice to see Cassandra Peterson at when she said she was going to be in costume. I half expected her to be in her Elvira costume, but I'm kind of glad that it wasn't that.
I'm surprised because we recently watched one of the Munsters movies, and they had Aunt Elvira or whatever it was, I was like, she could literally just play Elvira and be the
I
ants.
thought it was, yeah.
But I thought like a lot of the supporting players were cool. But yeah, that's my general overview of cast.
So, what I'm curious because I didn't recognize it. It wasn't until the documentary because I didn't even look in the IMDb. But Richard Drake, he's the one who played the Doctor Augustus Wolfgang. He also is the same guy who played Orlok. I could not tell that he was Orlok. Much
under all that makeup, you could be almost anybody as that. So.
Oh yeah. But the mannerisms and everything, I was just like, I never would have in a million years thought that was the same actor.
That is one thing I also liked more than I thought I was going to was the makeup, because from the trailer, it did not look good to me. Like I thought the makeup looked really like chintzy and fake, and I was like, oh, this is just gonna look like somebody in like bad Herman Munster like Halloween costume. But like the Count Orlok stuff like looked exactly like Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Like it was great, and I thought a lot of the makeup design looked a lot better in the final product than they showed in the trailer.
Definitely. Yeah. We actually in the other last week when we talked about the other movie, they had Cousin Phantom of the Opera.
Oh god.
But the makeup they
so
did
glad
on
he
him,
wasn't in this.
The makeup they did on him looked almost exactly like the original Phantom of the Opera, but it looked like crap in that movie. But you know, it looked exactly the same, and that's when I saw Orlok. I was like, oh dang, they got that like almost perfect, and not many people know his name is Orlok. Everyone just calls him Nosferatu. You know, it's like I don't know.
It was originally Count Dracula too, but they got sued, so they had to change it to something else.
Yeah. Yeah. That was fun. What about you, Kenny? What you got? What did you like
About the cast?
Yeah, sure.
Like most of the cast, the one that I actually like, I kept on sitting there saying, I've seen this guy before. It was Igor. He plays Radagast in Lord of the Rings. Well, in the Hobbit series, in the Hobbit trilogy, he plays Radagast. I'm like, I know this guy from something. He looked very familiar. But like most of the,
that's one thing you'll find with any Rob Zombie film is you'll watch it and be like, this actor looks familiar. Where is he from? And I think that's pretty cool because then it gets people to go to like IMDb or something.
That's what I did. I was sitting there, I'm just like, let's figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, usually most of his movies, you know, it's like horror icons that he's pulling in. So, you know, like when he worked with Sid Haig, rest in peace. Like, I was just like, oh man, that's awesome. Anyways, I'm not going to make this a love podcast to Rob Zombie's films because I know not everyone here likes them.
The hardest part was when they had the Tin Can Man or whatever it was.
Tin Can Man?
Oh yeah, it's this guy, but you can't hear his actual voice because it's all, you know.
You could later on when he was performing the wedding ceremony, you could tell that it was Butch Patrick. But not really a whole lot. They hid it behind the robotics still.
Yeah, I thought that was a wasted cameo in a way. Because I agree, because when he came up, I was like, oh, this is, because I knew he would cast as that character. I was like, oh, cool, this is going to be Butch Patrick. And then it just kind of sounded like a generic robot. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess. I guess that's how you use the original Eddie Munster.
Right. Well, I mean, they did the same thing with Pat Priest. She's just the airplane voice in the airplane. She doesn't. Both of the original cameos are just
voice cameos.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's because, well, maybe they couldn't get them over there to do actual footage because they shot this in Budapest, however you say it. Where Black Widow blew up the dude. Yeah, so they shot the whole film over there, which is kind of crazy. So I'm wondering if maybe they just couldn't get those two over there, especially because they were shooting it in 2021 COVID and all that stuff.
And it was probably budgetary too. I'm guessing it's probably cheaper to do like voice than it is to hire them as a character, fly them out, costume, makeup, and all that stuff. So,
and you can tell clearly they were working with budget constraints too, because I mean, even Sherry Moon Zombie, she played two separate characters. They
all played two different characters.
At least Jeff Daniel Phillips played three different characters.
Yeah,
if you include the body that he, the comedian. But he was also Zombo as well. So, yeah. And Daniel Roebuck played Ezra Mosher,
which amazing tribute. Amazing. To me. Ezra Stone. Yeah. Ezra Stone and Bob Mosher.
Yeah. Two icons within the Munsters history. Would you say history? Yeah, we'll say history. The Munsters history. We've been hearing them nonstop as long as we've been talking about the original cast, so it was definitely fresh in my mind. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But yeah, just seeing them playing multiple characters because, budget constraints and shit like that. Also, I think Daniel Roebuck probably would have played multiple characters anyways because he just loves to be on film sets, so yeah. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Tivis, do you want to tell what you liked about it, or do you want to just?
Do you have any other shout outs, Kenny?
Yeah.
Not really. I kind of enjoyed the little, the little scenes where they go to black and white and stuff too. They're kind of cartoony. That was funny.
Yeah, I felt like that was a nice little kind of nod to mini Munsters a bit.
Mm-hmm. No, dude, he was. So there was an article that went around that Rob Zombie wanted to do this in black and white, but the studio wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he put as much black and white footage in it while still being in their parameters and not doing it in black and white by using the TV to shoot on the TV, but doing what was on the TV in black and white. He was like, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to do some of it in black and white.
Why wouldn't they allow him to do both? That's just, whatever.
Yeah, I don't understand how, especially because it was like a lower budget thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not like this is ever going to make like gobs of money anyway. So it's like, it's not, and most of the people who are going to watch this are familiar with the fact that this was a black and white show. And so like, why would this be an issue of filming this in black and white? It doesn't make any sense.
I can see why not doing it in black and white was probably beneficial for them, because all the bright colors and stuff like that for the kid audience, the children audience, definitely helps out.
I guess, and that kind of segues to one of the things I liked about this is I actually liked the cinematography of it. I thought it looked good. I thought the colors weren't as awful as they were it looked really oversaturated in the trailer. And I think when I watched it on the big screen, that kind of worked better for me.
By big screen, he means TV.
Yes, not
people are gonna be like, where the hell did you see it in theaters?
No, but like I think it worked better because I watched the trailer on my phone,
right?
And then but watching the whole movie I think the color looked good. I still assert that it would have looked better in black and white, but
so seeing part of the film in black and white, the way that they colored it, because even back in the 60s, they used colored lighting to shoot it. They were in their colored makeup and everything,
right?
Too. So it actually does. If you just watch this in black and white, turn your TV to monochrome or whatever, guys, and you can watch it in black and white. It actually does look pretty good. I mean, I was watching it on a VHS, so the quality isn't there. But
and that's the thing is like from like the shots that I've seen that people have converted to black and white.
Yeah,
I could tell that he lit this.
Oh,
like it could have been black and white.
Yeah,
like the way it was lit, it was how you light black and white things, but just with color, and they didn't. So Yeah, I appreciated that, and I do wish that even on the Blu-ray, I wish there would have been like a monochrome version.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they ever release one out there, but just turn your TV to monochrome. You can do that in the settings, guys.
I know, but it's
like, I'll do it, and I won't know how to turn it back. I'll forget like an old man. I love the color palette. As people have been able to tell, like throughout the cover art and shit I've done for the podcast, or even the color bandanas I'm wearing today in tribute to the movie. Green and purple have always been something I thought really go together very well, and the lighting, the way he did it was pretty cool with those color schemes. And I love the
Halloween colors.
Yeah. Well, I also love the fact that he let their makeup colors, help predict, or not predict, like help inform the colors that they were going to use in the lighting and stuff. It was really cool to see that.
So. Yeah, I especially liked the scenes in Grandpa's lab. I thought the colors in the lab looked really nice, especially with all like the test tubes and things going everywhere. Like it caught the light really interestingly, and it made it look kind of neon-y. And I thought that stuff looked pretty cool.
Speaking of neon-y, when does this movie take place? What decade?
Yes.
Because there's a newspaper that says 61 or something like that, 1961, the Transylvania Gazette. But they have a lot of neon, like, I guess
they had neon in the 60s.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
in Transylvania,
but there was a lot of other things that were very
some of the music choices, like the band that Herman was in was just very like 80s punk. Yeah.
And it's just but that's just Rob Zombie. Yeah. Rob Zombie was like, "Hey." Yeah,
I thought it went really good with Jeff Daniel Phillips' voice though, with the punk rock style.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah. What was that? What else is? Oh, so the neon. I did like a little, Rob Zombie's always put like a little tribute stuff here and there to the Munsters in a lot of his work. Well, in this one, he put a little tribute, I think. I don't know for sure, but I saw it. It says Live Dead Girls, like his song Living Dead Girls.
Well, Living Dead Girls is a reference to an old like horror movie too.
Yeah. But did you see the sign that says Live Dead Girls for, the strip club or whatever it's supposed to be?
Yeah. Yeah, I do like the in-world advertisements.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of stuff in there that was pretty funny if you pay attention to like the little details, like just the passing like bar like signs and stuff like that. Pretty funny.
Yeah, all the stuff in Transylvania was pretty cool to just have these like. That's where it felt like all the Munsters humor comes from a lot, or not their humor, but their darker, macabre jokes and stuff like that. Like they come from the Transylvania setting in the '60s show I'm talking about. So, yeah, I like Transylvania. I really enjoyed that, and this is a BTS fact. The place where the Dr. Wolfgang creates Herman, that exterior shot is, and Tivis, correct me if I'm wrong, but they said it was an old power plant.
I think that's correct.
So all they did was literally just put green lights in that tube and lit it up like that. That's it. I was like, that is awesome because it looks pretty cool. I thought it was a set piece, like they built it or something specifically for a film, but that building is there. It's pretty cool. So
yeah,
I just wanted to add that in.
Continuing with the aesthetic talk, Augustus Wolfgang's lab I thought that was like really weird. Look at sci-fi type. The lights going around the ceiling and stuff. little disappointed. Not a whole lot of what are those things? Tesla coils, but I really enjoyed the aesthetic of this. It's definitely shot to. It looks like it's made for people to turn it in black and white, like they did on your VHS. Like he knew people were going to do it,
right?
But I loved the colors. I loved the look. The makeup I thought was fantastic. Herman definitely looks a lot better than I thought he did in the trailers in this movie. Because I'll be honest, even in the trailers, I was like, oh, I'm not too sure about that green. But watching it in practicality, it worked. It really well.
There were times where I thought that he looked more green in certain scenes. I don't know if that was just where they put him, or if it was like the makeup changed at all or something. Because I don't know. Because there were times where I noticed it more, where I'm like, he looks really green in this scene.
I think the scenes where he's outside in the daylight, it's a lot more brighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be it.
And I think that's just the light bouncing off of him, making him even brighter too,
Yeah.
But
going
I really feel Fred Gwynn would be like super jealous of the suit that he got to wear because it was super lightweight, by the way.
And the shoes.
Yeah.
I will say on the when he appeared on the like that talk show or whatever when Dr. Wolfgang was revealing him and it was in black and white on the TV, it looked so good.
Yeah,
it looked just like the makeup from the show,
and that's why I think that's on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, but it looked really good.
That's why I said like Rob Zombie tried to get some black and white footage in there of Herman so you could see it like that because in the BTS 2 also they show him Mr. Zombie for some of you Mr. Zombie trying to get the makeup perfect for like the hair and stuff like that. Like they had pictures of Fred Gwynn that he was going through and stuff to be like, well, no, his bangs were a little shorter, so cut his bangs down and stuff like that from the wig and all that. So there's definitely that chance, not even a chance, it has to be that he was like, no, we're doing this scene in black and white so people can actually see I'm not crazy and by making him super bright green. But the bright green even reminds me of if you watch the two Munsters movies with Fred when they did his makeup, they actually have really bright green makeup on him, especially on his brow area and the forehead. So it kind of looked about the same tone for me.
Yeah.
So and his face was a lot brighter, but everything else was about the same tone.
Jeff's going back to the characters though, the cast. Jeff, he nailed this laugh, dude. The
laugh was very good.
He's so good in the role.
But it also, the laugh was so good, it made me wish that the voice wasn't so weird.
I agree. The squeaky voice aspect was a little off-putting to me. It didn't detract too much from the movie. I think it may have been better without it, but it is what it is, I guess now. But I think when he didn't do that, his Herman, like, oh man, I would absolutely watch another movie with this cast. I thought I like. I don't know if I liked the direction that he went with Lily a little bit. She was a bit too body motion-y.
She was too Jack Sparrow. Like
she was emulating the mannerisms that Yvonne did, but like constantly, like in every movement. That's what you're down. Yeah. Because Yvonne was like, she would do those save movements, but then there'd be a lot of times where she'd just be chill and not do anything at all.
Yeah, that's literally my only criticism, pretty much, for the cast is it's too much. Like, just tone it down a little bit, and it's perfect, in my opinion.
I think it's just supposed to be over the top in general, though. It's like the whole
I know
thing.
that's what they were going for, but for me, that's what I would just
No,
say.
and I agree with Tivis on this one because that was part of the thing that irritated me most. And like her like over exaggerated facial expressions and stuff like that.
See,
and
I like that.
And the way she talked, like I said, it sounded like I for the longest time I was watching this, I'm like, what does this performance remind me of? And it reminded me of Alexis Rose from Schitt's Creek, the sister in Schitt's Creek.
I need to watch more of that.
Never seen it.
It's a great show, but like she's kind of the ditzy rich girl kind of like talk, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like Lily Munster to me.
Right.
I other than the exaggerated hand motions, I honestly thought she was great in the role. Otherwise,
real quick before you keep going to this too, I do want to reiterate because everyone keeps saying this is like a prequel. This is not a prequel. It's not a reboot. This is a reimagining, by the way, because it's not rebooting the show. It's not rebooting anything. It's a completely different reimagining. Yeah. Because by the 60s, they had been together for like 100 years. So, or like 50 years or something like that. Because Herman served in the military and all that crap.
I believe they had their 100th anniversary episode.
Yeah. So, like, it's not like even a prequel to that. It's its own thing. And I want to let people remember that because a lot of people are saying it's a prequel. And then other people are like, but it's not canon because it doesn't. Because it's not a prequel. Just stop
here's
saying
the
it's
thing
a
about
prequel.
canon. Here's the thing about canon. Canon is everything that the company wants under the banner. The Mini Munsters is canon. Continuity is a completely separate discussion.
Yeah.
So anyone saying it's not canon doesn't understand what term canon.
Well, yeah.
But it's in its own thing. It's its own bubble. It doesn't have anything to do with the old. I mean, it has throwbacks and references, but it's its own, story.
Yeah, it's its own. Like I said, the Munsterverse is here.
Right. Well, the thing that probably throws a lot of people off is that they end it with the intro to the other show.
But they don't, because Eddie's not there, and Marilyn's not there.
The season 2 intro as well.
Right. Right. Well, they put in the intro where it's like where they kind of started. But at the same time, maybe he's just introing that he wants to do a show.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Like he just does this movie and then he starts his own show in black and white.
I highly doubt Universal will let him do that.
Yeah,
but I bet you he would love to.
Oh yeah.
Would he? Does he?
I don't know if he'd want to do a show.
TV? Yeah.
He's directed TV before. He directed like CSI.
But has he helmed a TV show? Is what?
No.
Yeah, it's a whole different can of worms.
Oh. Yeah, but with the show, he has this much, love for him. Maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
But some other people that stood out to me. Lester. I loved the guy who played Lester. Like he nailed the whole, I can't hold on to my money aspect that we saw a tiny bit of in that episode.
I tried to figure out where I seen him, because I've looked him up and stuff. He's in a lot of B movies and stuff like that.
Not B movies, damn it, Grindhouse style. Come on,
what's the difference?
B movies. The B movie has Jerry Seinfeld in it. First of all,
but Daniel Roebuck totally.
There's only one way to watch the B movie.
Yeah,
it's a drink every time that they say B.
Sorry, go ahead, Tivis.
Daniel Roebuck totally stole the show from me, or the movie. He was spot on, just so talented, and not just because we had him on the show, but I literally, whenever he was on screen, he had my attention.
No, he was. His performance was the best out of everybody for sure. I think because I have no notes about it. I was thinking, because I like Jeff Daniel Phillips as Herman, but I was like, the voice was just off enough to me to be annoyed. But the mannerisms of Daniel Roebuck, the voice of Daniel Roebuck, like the look, except for like the mustache, which is new, but like, like everything about it where I was just like, yeah, I can like close my eyes and think like, yeah, that is Al Lewis,
he has the mustache because he's young and hip still, man.
The sideburns.
The 60s, he's got to have it all.
But don't you know, once you get past 300, it all starts going out.
Yeah.
Right. I really enjoyed Mr. Roebuck's performance for sure. He was definitely the one that's like, there's not much to judge about the performance, especially because this is a whole new iteration, and all that too. But at the same time, I was like, for me, the one I was watching the most, that I was like enamored with or whatever, was Herman. Like, Jeff Daniel Phillips like stole the show for me for some reason. Like, I just was like, besides watching it in black and white, I've watched it in color 3 times because I wanted to make sure that my opinions were my opinions before I spoke on them today. So, but yeah, every time I was watching him, like just watching Herman, and yeah, I couldn't stop.
Oh, he like I said, he definitely embodied the Herman for me. Aside from the few voice cracks, which
a lot of voice cracks
could have done with fewer, but it did not detract from the movie at all from me. In the side character, oh my God, Floop, and of course Igor, who Sylvester McCoy, and if anyone doesn't know, the 7th Doctor from Doctor Who.
Tivis was over there getting pissed because Kenny didn't say Doctor Who when he said Hobbit.
But even the archived footage that they pulled out, I mean, we had the beaver in this movie.
Yep.
That was a nice surprise. The side characters that all the main guys play, Ezra Mosher, Zombo, and the comedian, Donna Doomley on the radio, that cracked me up. The tiny little scene that we saw in that.
The funny one was watching the what the hell was it? When they're watching the movie with the monster from the lagoon or whatever.
Uncle
the
Gilbert.
Creature, yeah.
They're watching his movie with him.
And they're laughing their ass off. Like I thought that was so funny.
I honestly am not sure why. So they have the wedding. And I'm like, why didn't Uncle Gilbert show up to the wedding? Like, the only person in attendance really was Grandpa, right?
Yeah.
I didn't really get a good look at the whole guest list.
And Lester was there because that's where he.
Yeah, Lester was.
He wasn't at the ceremony though.
No,
Augustus was there.
Left.
Or Wolfgang. Dr. Wolfgang
was there. Yeah.
Do you guys want to just jump right into this since we already covered like the aesthetic of it and stuff?
Well,
jump
I
into
want
the
to say
story.
one more thing about the characters. I did not. Maybe y'all did. But the Donna Doomley character, I didn't realize that was Sherry until like my second
I didn't
viewing.
either.
I didn't at all.
Yeah, the behind the scenes are what clued me.
That's the reporter person, and I was like, that is like one of her, like, because I'm used to seeing Sherry in like mostly horror films, and seeing her doing a character that's completely different, like Lily is still kind of on the scary-esque side and stuff, or the doom side or whatever, but that character just came out of nowhere. I was like, I want a whole movie with Sherry acting like that. Can we do that, please?
Yeah, I got very like Tina Fey-esque vibes from that character.
A little bit, yeah. Why? 'Cause she was wearing glasses, Tivis?
No, it's just because I've been watching a lot of 30 Rock lately.
All right, so you want to jump into the story then, or?
Yeah. Do you want to start us off this time, Kenny? What parts of the story stuck out to you? Like, what did you think of the story overall? I guess.
What
good,
story?
The one thing that like kind of stuck out to me was the way they gave him his name.
Yeah, that was great. Named after a cheese.
It was the stupidest thing ever.
It
was a funny joke, okay?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking the same dang thing about the Munster cheese.
Really?
But it was the stupidest way to give an iconic character his name. Like,
and for those of you who
dumb,
it was as bad as the Solo movie Star Wars when there's like when they gave him the Solo name because he was alone.
You're alone, huh?
Like,
yeah.
Fuck off! Like it was so stupid.
I will say, in defense of that, that originally wasn't his name in the old canon as well, but that's a whole nother topic. I am disappointed though that he decided to erase the English family that adopts Herman from this version. Because for those who didn't watch the movie 2 episodes ago,
Munsters Go Home.
Munsters Go Home. We found out Herman was adopted by an English family called the Munsters.
Yep. And that's how he got the last name. Which is also interesting because that's supposedly like Rob Zombie's favorite Munsters thing was that movie. So I'm like, why would you not like keep it as an adoption thing? And they also didn't make Dr. Frankenstein the creator either. They created
they also retconned that.
So I think that was, a choice.
Grandpa wasn't involved either.
Who?
Grandpa wasn't involved either.
Yeah. Half the time I don't think Grandpa was involved. It's hard to tell. Like Grandpa's like, I was there when you were. I was like, which time? Maybe he was just brought back to life multiple times. So again, not the same universe though.
Sorry, can I go?
No, I lost my track.
We were talking about the name.
Right. I'm sorry.
Munster cheese, sir.
See, I messed up because of Munster cheese.
No. It was a stupid way to give a name.
Right.
Stupid way.
There was just a lot of funny like foreshadowing, like when the lady's talking about you have to be a complete idiot to mix these two up.
That's not foreshadowing. That's literally telling you exactly
what's going to happen.
That's not. Don't even use that foreshadowing word for this movie at all. Let's just take foreshadowing and put it over here on the shelf with other movies and not this film. So
I like Floop is like, what do you think? I'm an idiot? Don't answer that. I have it written down on my hand. Other hand.
Well, the funny thing is, he wrote down the first name. But then he went off the last name. He wrote down the first name.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I honestly thought because they went with the twin brother aspects, or not, I don't know if they were twins, but the brother aspect, that we were going to get Charlie. It solidified my theory that we were going to get Charlie, and we didn't.
That's
twice in this movie, I thought we were going to get him.
When they said something about his brother, I was like, oh, it's going to be a twin. It's completely different actor. So I was just like, oh damn, that's not Charlie. Okay, whatever. And then you thought Grandpa would make Charlie or some shit like that. So.
Yeah, with the potion he did, but
with the
whole what's that?
Instead, he made a monkey.
Yeah,
this is Tarzan. This is
a dancing monkey. It was.
I didn't get that joke.
It was just another reference that he wanted to make. It was the what was the name of Tarzan's monkey? Because that's what this isn't the hair of Tarzan. This is the hair of, I don't know why the name's escaping me now, but it's like the name of Tarzan's like main chimp friend.
I did like the fact though that they had Grandpa screw up, the one potion or whatever he did in the movie.
Doing it all the time.
Because he always screws up everything.
And the labels, he can't ever read the label. He has to get the magnifying glasses.
Yeah. That was good to see that reference in there. A lot of this is just, here's what the old show used to do, so we're going to put it in here, which, for fans and stuff, that's cool. So, and it was still entertaining enough to keep kids that don't know the original show, involved. So, go on to, or Austin, you said you look like you wanted to say something.
Yeah. Story and humor were my biggest negatives for this movie. There were some things that I thought were pretty funny, but it was like, okay, but it was not ever funny to me. I thought a lot of the humor missed its mark. I thought the story was just like fan service after fan service scene. It was more like how many references can we put in it? Because if you actually look at the overarching story of this, like it makes no sense. Like how we get from A to Z in this movie. It was just like
it was very on fast forward, but a lot of episodes do that too. So I was
going to point out a lot of the shows or the episodes do that crap, and they end kind of like how this movie ends, just like, wait, what? It's over already? Like that doesn't make sense. What about the whole other part of the story?
See, I thought that this movie, for one, was maybe a little too long. I thought we could have cut maybe like 15 to 20 minutes out of this, and it probably would have been a lot better.
It could have been an hour and a half movie and ended there.
But like there's like the first half of the movie, it was like a bad version of Young Frankenstein. Like they even stole the switching of the brains.
Yeah.
That was literally the joke in Young Frankenstein.
I believe they actually referenced that in the behind the scenes for being inspiration for that as well.
Inspiration, it's stolen. It's not an homage to that joke. It is literally the joke, only not as funny.
I mean, they stole the brain. You think they're not going to steal a joke?
It was like there was like the whole like Frankenstein stuff. I was just thinking like this would be so much better if it was Young Frankenstein.
So I have to admit, every joke that Herman says in this movie, I laughed my ass off to, except for one.
Same.
And the only one I didn't laugh to was the horse with the long face joke. I was just like, all right, I've heard that bunch. But a lot of the other ones, like he would say them, and I would start laughing before the reveal would come. like with the grandpa joke when he's like, how do you keep a grumpy old, busted out vampire in suspense? And I just started laughing before grandpa even says how.
Yeah, because you know what's coming.
But his portrayal, not his portrayal, but like the way he looked after he said it, he was just like, oh, I'll tell you later.
So Fred Gwynn right there.
Yeah.
He's channeling him perfect.
But see, like, also at the same time, I think like Fred Gwynn's Herman would have said the joke and then totally forgot the punchline and then just be like, I'll tell you later. And it would have been funny because we knew he forgot the end of the joke.
That's true. Yeah, I could see that. I enjoyed the when he starts dating first I got a crack up when they were going to steal all the body parts at the beginning and the corpse is gone. First of all, how to get out of there if the casket's still sealed? But
he closed it.
Yeah, where'd it go? And they're like, oh, it's okay. It's just a zombie.
Not only that,
right? They were just like, not phased at all.
They were like taking the crowbar and trying to pry the lid up, and their lanterns were on top of it. I was like, oh god, they're gonna catch this whole place on fire. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh no.
It just goes up and whacks him in the head with a hammer. Zombie problem solved.
Is that the first time we've had a zombie in the Munsters franchise? Well, we haven't finished watching all the other stuff, so
that we've seen, yeah.
That we've seen, okay. Right.
But it didn't feel out of place at all.
No. I thought it was in my grandpa's tomb, honestly.
They all the comments phased when they saw the zombie. They're like, "Oh, he's a zombie now."
Yeah, they were just happy. They didn't have to go looking for a new one. Another one that I really enjoyed was when he first meets Grandpa when he's going to Lily's home, and they're shouting at each other from the roof, and then he comes down.
Yeah.
And he's still shouting at him. Like, why are you yelling? I thought you liked it. And like Grandpa's whole jumps back into the door. I was cracking up at that. My wife had some thoughts on this though. She said she would have. I got her into the show, by the way. She fully converted because this show is just so good. But she said she likes the episodes where they go and do things, and they kind of didn't really do a whole lot in this, and I can see that.
They did nothing. There was no plot to this movie.
It
would have been better if it was a whole story leading up to the wedding, and that's what the movie should have been, like a love story.
Exactly.
Break this up into...
Like this was two movies crashed into one. I feel like if you wanted to do the Herman Lily love story, that should have been the movie.
Let's face it. So after watching the first Munsters film, it was like 2 or 3 stories pushed into one movie, to be honest. But it was like a Scooby-Doo movie too.
But that's no excuse for things being bad. Just because the other stuff is not good either doesn't mean that you like. I can make a bad thing and make other stuff's bad too.
This movie was pitched as a love story. We got somewhat of a love story. I think the real true love story is the love for the Munsters with this film. I think that's the love story that's being told here.
This can be broken down into like 3. We got the creation of Herman, the love story, and then we have to find a place to live.
Yeah.
But
you screwed up with Lester again.
But the thing is like my problem with it is like none of those things like really like coincided with one another. They just kind of happened after each other.
Yeah.
It felt very episodic instead of a movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like this was like 3 episodes of a show instead of like one coherent story. Like if it would have been, I would have been more on board with this if it was just the courtship of Herman and Lily. It was like them dating and like the hijinks and stuff like that. But like I didn't need to see 1313 Mockingbird Lane if that was the story that they were going to tell.
But I am glad we ended up there. But I thought most of this movie was going to be the courting of.
Yeah, which I mean it really wasn't because you have the creation of him.
Yeah,
too.
They were together for a week and he proposed.
Was it only a week?
It was a week.
It was really fast. Like
Go ahead.
Well, that's Herman. So
yeah.
That's totally a Herman trait.
But yeah, that was my thing. It's just like I'm watching this. I'm like, it's an hour 45 minutes, and like, which is for me long for this movie. Yeah. And like I don't care about length of movie. I know Tivis has his opinions on like long movies, and I do too. But like, this felt long for hour 45. Like I was watching this, like I think that this should be over by now, and it was still going.
Admit there was some parts I felt dragged.
There are a couple dragged along parts and stuff, but at the same time, like when it does finally end, I was just like, wait, that's how we're ending it? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's like
right.
like I wanted it to be over at so many different other parts of this movie, or I'm just like, this would have been a good place to end this, but it kept going. And then when it finally did end, I was like taken aback. I was like, what? It was bizarre.
So I have a clip I want to share because it correlates kind of with the end of the film. And for the people out there that are just listening, I apologize. But we're gonna take a quick, like I think it's only like a 20-second clip. You can check it out on YouTube, or just go back and rewatch the episode. It's called Herman's Rival, where we meet Lester for the first and only time.
No, we're going to see the terrifying werewolf again.
So, yes, we are. Let's
I hate this costume so much.
Here we go, guys.
Believe me, he doesn't mean anything to me. I was just working for him, reading palms.
Herman, Lily knows all about you lending money to Lester, but everything's okay now because he's on his way over to pay you back.
You mean you thought I was broke? That's why you came to work here?
That's right.
Lily.
Herman.
Baby doll.
Pussycat.
Sister dear, I'm here. Lily.
Oh, my baby brother.
Herman.
Lester, you're a sight for sore eyes.
My boy. Daddy.
All right, yeah. So that was them.
The most terrifying costume ever created.
It's just a bad werewolf. It's okay.
Yeah. It's funny too because they kind of recreate that whole thing after shitting on Lester in the movie. Because that whole episode, they were like, Herman, you're stupid. And they were like shitting on Lester in the whole episode. So it was kind of cool to see they brought that, full circle in the movie as well. Just as they did in the episode. So I thought I'd grab that clip and show it to everybody here.
I'm curious how everyone feels. What do you think about finally seeing Spot, even though, it was kind of an infant Spot?
They rarely really showed the full thing either, though.
They showed it from far.
Yeah.
They showed it from far away.
Well, they zoomed in
in the bathtub. And they show him in the bathtub just there. Like that. He looks so sad.
I guess they did. I forgot about the bathtub.
I like once we get to the house, all we see is the tail in every shot. But
yeah. Which
I thought it was weird that we finally got what Spot looked like, and I don't know if I like this, honestly.
Another character that my kid was, now knows the name to. When we were watching the next time, he walked out of the room and then came back. He's like, "Where's Spot?" And I was like, "They're gonna show him. See, he's right there, the tail." And he's like, "Awesome!"
And we find out the Raven came with the house.
Yeah, Charlie the Raven.
Yeah, because they're all just sitting there, and he's just like, "Time to go to work."
Right.
Yeah, I was not a fan of really seeing
Spot.
I thought when he went down there, I thought, okay, I think they might be showing the origin of Spot, which again, I didn't need to see the origin of Spot. I just accept its existence.
I feel Spot was always Eddie's pet. So not the family pet. So
yeah, I got I liked the whole Spot aspect. Again, I'm not too sure we needed to see him, but
no,
I kind of got the impression that it won't be long before Eddie comes along at the end of this movie.
I thought we were gonna get like a like the first Addams Family movie when it ended with them. I thought I thought there was going to be a reference to her being pregnant with Eddie.
I'm so glad they didn't.
I'm kind of glad they didn't too, but I thought that's where it was going when it was at the end of the movie. I was like, I feel it coming.
When they were on their honeymoon and Grandpa busts in, I thought that was going to be the scene where she's like, "Oh boy."
In the magazine here with the interview with Rob, they actually talk about it, and he did not want to tell the story with the whole family. He's like, we already seen that. We don't want to touch that story. We want to do something else, and that's why he decided to just do the love story. Well, not the love story, but I guess everyone keeps calling it a prequel, so
it is a prequel story to the one we know. That one it fits, but I appreciate that this angle. I wish they would have said something sooner instead of waiting 2 months before the movie came out.
For what?
It would have saved me so much annoyance at where is Eddie?
Well, part of him is in Lily and part of him is in Herman.
Well, he's also a werewolf.
At least I hope
maybe they adopt
Herman.
But yeah, it's I enjoyed seeing.
Robbers. They just stole Eddie out of his grave.
I enjoyed seeing the story of how they ended up before they ended up in Mockingbird Lane.
Yeah.
That it's stuff that like you know, Rob said, we haven't seen a lot of this, only references to it, so it's nice to be able to see some of it, even if a little bit has changed.
But he could have like spent, if he wanted it to be like this stuff, I would have liked it more if it was 100% the Transylvania stuff. Like the transition to Mockingbird Lane didn't work for me.
I think the fact that if you stayed in Transylvania, you wouldn't get that whole like, oh my God, these people are ugly for the real people. You know?
Yeah, but
I have a problem with that.
We spent 3/4 of the movie there anyway, so it's just like that. The last quarter was like on fast forward.
Yeah,
they were in France.
With
normal people.
Did you not see the people
in America is confusing for having ugly ass people?
Maybe they're trying to say something about the French.
I wasn't gonna go that far, but that whole joke, I felt like, I get it, you know, that's what the Munsters are known for, but I feel like that joke could have been thrown out for this entirely.
What part? Them being
at the end where they're all like, "Oh, our neighbors are hideous."
Yeah, I think it was to try and show, you know, they weren't always, you know,
just mean
accepting of things like that, and because they are now in the States and they become accepting and stuff, maybe that's why they end up having to adopt Maryland down the road, because they're the only ones in the family that can take care of her, like take acceptance of her.
That's another issue I have with this movie. They could have done at least one throwaway line about a sister at any point, and there's nothing.
She didn't even show up to the wedding.
I don't know.
Maybe she's not born yet.
I also thought that this show went heavy on like the macabre, like humor and stuff like that, but it didn't have any of the heart that the show had, because the show is essentially like taking Leave It to Beaver and what if Leave It to Beaver was with monsters instead of like regular people, and they had none of the like heartfelt thing that a lot of the Munsters has, so it's like they went heavy on like the macabre humor but none of the heart.
Maybe maybe you could take into consideration. I'm not trying to fix the movie for anybody, but you can also think that after being in the States for so long, that's how they became more down to earth human, I guess.
But they didn't,
because they were around humans.
That would have been a much more interesting character arc than we got from anybody in this movie, because none of them had character arcs.
Well, they finish it right when they moved to the States, so they lived there for like one night and that's it, and then they end the film.
I disagree with, I know what you're trying to say with the whole, you know, I disagree with it, the movie not having heart, but I would say that would be an interesting sequel if they choose to do one of them being more.
I wouldn't say it doesn't have heart. It doesn't have the same kind of heart, like because people were saying like, oh, you know, like I saw some like people saying online like, oh yeah, it's just like the show. It's just like the show. If you don't like this, you obviously haven't seen the show. I'm like, well, that's not true. I've seen the show, and they have like half of what made the Munsters. The Munsters, and then they ignored the other half.
Yeah. I can't say that this movie is just like the show, and nobody should say this movie is just like the show. It has moments from the show, it has references to the show, it has some characters from the show, but it's not just like the show, because
it's not the show.
It's not the fucking show. Yeah.
Right.
And
even the two sequel movies to the show are not the show. They feel different to the show.
Yeah. Definitely 100% they feel different. Even the 66 movie feels
that's what
different.
I'm saying.
The 66 movie is a live action Scooby-Doo film, by the way.
Oh, all of them are, and they actually reference that in the behind the scenes stuff. It's like it's a live action cartoon.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for months.
Oh no, I think it was Rob, Mr. Zombie says to Jeff, he's like, we can have like a perfect set, and then you step on there in the makeup, and it just looks like a cartoon now. Which it kind of was real. I mean, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I just
they called him like, Shrek when he was doing his makeup test.
I felt like it was a little. Yeah, they did. They did.
Rob's like, you look like Shrek.
I can't believe how. Oh, like Jeff had his makeup test almost a year before Sherry. She was the last one, and then they started filming not long after. They only had 32 days to film this.
I feel that Sherry, like, Rob knew what she was going to wear.
Well, she was obviously the easiest one to do. Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't have any prosthetics or anything.
Yeah, put her in like a purple gown and put a silver streak in her hair. Bam, yeah. Lily.
They almost had her in a bandana in the Paris scenes, but she made the right call in throwing that away.
Yeah. Yeah, then she take that out herself, and she's just like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that."
Yeah, because it didn't look good in the testing, but yeah, the behind the scenes is really fascinating, people.
Yeah, sorry.
You get to see some of the wires and stuff that they remove.
Yeah, but you can also get that on the DVD at themunstercast.com/themunster Munsters movie.
So I do think that, like, you, Myke, and Kenny have an advantage on this movie because you do get to experience it with probably its more target audience. Like, I'm sure your kids, like you said, your kids really liked it, and I'm like, I feel like as a kids movie, I probably, if I would have seen this when I was like 10, 11 years old, I would have probably loved it. I probably would have had.
Why am I lumped into this? I don't have a kid. Are you calling me a kid?
He said me and Kenny.
I said you. Okay. I said Myke and Kenny. You don't have kids, but like
you are a kid. What are you talking about?
But
Tivis sits there with a mirror right next to him.
But I think that, like, experiencing this with your kids probably would have been a better way. Like, coming at it as an adult, especially an adult who like me, I studied film. So like, I'm like, it's not, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was going to. I'm going to say that. I thought going into this, I'm going to absolutely despise everything about this movie. And I didn't.
Yeah. Which I've heard a lot from a lot of people is like, they thought they were going to hate it like 100%, but they still tried it out at least.
But I didn't like it. I don't think it was a good movie, but like, I thought that there were parts of it, there were aspects of it that I could admire. But I think if I were to have watched this, say, with my niece, who's 7 years old, I think that would have been a much better way to watch it. I think experiencing it through her, even though I don't really like it, I think her potentially liking it would have made it a much better experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, it was just being able to enjoy a franchise that I've been watching, especially for the past year now. Remember, it's our 1 year anniversary, everybody. And so for the past year, we've been watching this nonstop. And just being able to get to experience that with my kid. Because like my oldest has watched some of the original stuff, but generally I watch it at night because they just don't care enough or they don't shut up so I can actually hear it. But being able to do that and then have them asking questions now and actually being like, hey, can we, watch the podcast on YouTube and stuff like that too now? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Hi, kids.
Maybe I shouldn't say that when I cuss on the podcast and other people are like, you gotta let your kids watch this.
I have not.
My kids have to listen to it because I listen to it in the car.
I have heard you say a few things that I'm like,
like the Lester stuff when he first showed up.
Yes, I was thinking that specifically. I can't get that phrase out of my head every time I say him.
What?
I hate you.
Lester,
I'm not
the
saying
molester.
Oh man.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there, Mosher. Austin. Sorry, that's the habit I gotta break.
It's all right. I go by either. So
This is why Austin's so critical, because he is a Mosher, and he was like, "Ugh, my uncle didn't do all this work just to get this franchise."
God, I wish I was related to Bob Mosher. I wish, but I'm not. As far as I know.
Yeah, I really. There's just some aspects that I'm like, oh, I don't like. The whole them losing the castle aspect, which by the way looked exactly like the castle in the second movie from the exterior.
Yeah.
As Herman was walking up, that was cool. Munster's Revenge.
Yeah.
The whole they lose it and they're like, well, how are we gonna get it back? And the whole answer is we're gonna move and forget about it entirely. I'm like, okay, well, I guess
they're not even like that. It's not even that simple. It's like they see Zombo on TV and he's like, I'm better looking than this dude. Like, I'll go over there and make money in Hollywood.
He's jealous of Zombo even back then.
The basic ass dream of everybody is like, I'm going to make it big in Hollywood.
I was partially correct with Zombo, by the way. I want an apology, Mike.
What?
The original Zombo is in this movie.
He is?
Yeah, they show footage of him breaking the cracker cereal up.
That's archive footage?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
I
thought they just recreated it.
I thought they recreated it also.
No, go watch it again. I telling you, it's from the episode.
Are you sure they didn't just recreate it?
I thought they recreated it.
Listeners, tell me if I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, don't say anything.
I mean, we can look up if there's a on IMDb if there's like a cast.
If there's an archive casting on there, because it says all the other archival casts on IMDb.
It's not there, but maybe it hasn't been added yet. You never know.
Yeah, so Tivis is just like, it hasn't been added yet. It's everything else has been, but not that one. Even though the whole them losing the castle aspect was kind of just forgotten. I loved the reason for it with Zoya being a scorned ex-lover of Grandpa, because we talk about his many wives a lot, and the actress. Oh my God, Catherine.
Did you just have a stroke?
Yes, I have problems with names. I really want to get this one right.
Catherine Shell.
Yes. She came out of retirement for this movie, and she plays Countess Scarleone in Doctor Who in a very, very fantastic episode called The City of Death. Well, not episode, story. It's actually 4 episodes, but she did such a fantastic job.
How did she come out of retirement for this? Because she was in that really good Dracula miniseries back in 2020 or 2020, back in 2020. She did that Dracula series too, the miniseries.
She was in 1 episode.
Yeah, but that was a really good freaking series, except for the third part.
I mean, all the articles that talked about it said she was coming out of retirement, so
maybe she retired again and was like, all right, because she hadn't done anything for almost 20 years before that. So
yeah, but fantastic. I loved her performance, and I loved the story of her being a scorned ex-lover.
She was one of the best actors in the film, and she didn't even have that big of a part, I thought. Playing the gypsy, whatever. Again, we get gypsies again, because we had gypsies in the...
Sorry to interrupt, but I just looked it up, and the Zombo in the movie they did recreate the part.
That's what I thought.
I'm sorry, Mosher, you're cutting out. I can't hear what
he's played by an actor named Richard Hale.
Wait.
Where the original was
Zombo is played by Jeff Daniel Phillips in this.
Yeah.
This from the Wikipedia page. It said Richard.
But don't
Hale.
listen to Wikipedia, okay?
They're as reliable as IMDb anymore.
It was literally like a secret too when Daniel Roebuck was on, because he was like, "Oh no, he just showed up to set. It was Zombo."
Well, that's what Daniel says that in his comments all the time. That's why he confused me. He's like, it's just Zombo.
You're right. It was Jeff.
Yeah.
What did I see with Richard Hale?
I think that's the original Zombo.
Was he the original?
Yeah, I believe so.
You know what? If we want to get Daniel back on here to talk about the movie, I'm going to ask him about that specifically, and I'm probably going to get the same answer with it just being Zombo.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tivis. Zombo just shows up.
Off camera, I'm definitely going to get an answer.
I do think I know. So this is tough. Richard Brake is the one who plays the Orlok. Nosferatu, for everybody out there who doesn't know the name. Count Orlok. I want to see like a complete comedy movie with him as Orlok now. Especially because we have the new Nosferatu film being hopefully coming out within the next 2 years. It'd be fun to see him play Count Orlok in a comedy film as well.
The only part with Count Orlok that I didn't like was when he took her to that place when there's like the neon light says, "If the tombs are rocking, don't come a knocking." I thought that was I thought that was so stupid.
Yeah,
it is. I loved it.
It's so dumb. And then like
he's the player.
My wife was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "He's trying to get laid."
Did you catch the Fergosi Diamond references in this?
Fergosi
Emerald or whatever? Yes.
Yeah.
Twice it came up in that dinner scene where she's watching the people get proposed to behind Orlok.
Mm-hmm.
And also when Herman gives her ring, it glows green. And I'm like, oh my God, is that how they end up with the emerald in this one? Did Herman buy a cursed ring?
That's why he loses the castle. It makes 100% sense.
I think he loses it because he's an idiot, but I
Look,
love.
okay,
and he also the references of head of household. They bring that up in this too.
Yeah. Oh man, I would have liked to see more of the stuff of how they interacted though, as son-in-law and father-in-law.
They started getting along at the end.
Yeah, because they got money.
Lily got pissed. No, before that.
Oh yeah.
Lily's like, I'm surprised at you.
Your wife is scary.
I agree because there's really no antagonist to this movie. So like everyone just if you really think about it, there's really no like and Grandpa would have been the perfect antagonist. He kind of was in the beginning, but I
think Zoya's the only antagonist really.
But she's barely in it and not really an antagonist.
She's not really doing anything actually. She's an antagonist for Lester the molester. Lester.
No, stop it.
Sorry, Tivis. I'm sorry, Daddy.
Hate you.
God, I hope everyone has listened to every episode before they listen to this one. Otherwise, they won't get those references.
But like if they would have just stuck to telling the story of the courtship and had Grandpa as like the antagonist trying to drive them away, and like that would have given all of us the relationship with Grandpa that we know is that like he was very much like anti Herman, and so it's like this that back and forth would have been great, and they had it for like a little bit and then they went away from it completely. And if they would have just stuck with it, it would have been a much more cohesive and better movie.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it definitely it just reminded me of like he was trying to make episodes of the show the way it was formatted. That's the only downside like for me for the story and how it was trying to go. I was just I understand it, but at the same time I don't think it's a good creative decision.
No, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying when we were talking off camera about his horror movies, where I said like a lot of times I feel like you can tell that he loves this stuff, but you don't necessarily like he doesn't really like to bring in necessarily what makes that stuff so great.
Yeah,
like he's like on like the borderline of like obviously a super fan, but also as a creator not really being able to tap into that, and him not really doing humor at all before this. I feel like you could really tell that he didn't do it, but like he was also trying, like you said, he was trying to do it. Felt very episodic. It didn't feel like a movie. It felt like 2 or 3 little movies, and none of them were very good, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I understand what you mean, because there's not like a full story in each story.
No,
that makes sense too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's no, it's just characters doing things, but there's no reason for them to be doing things other than like self-reference.
And I understand it, and like you said, studying film and shit like that, you notice a lot of these things too. I did the same things. Some people in film school were annoying.
And I want to also clear that I'm not a pretentious film person. Like I'm not going to be up there being like, I only watch Jean-Luc Godard films and everything. No, it's not.
Why not? Why don't you just only watch them?
Yeah, well, I only watch Adam Sandler films.
We can tell.
But that's true.
There's a couple Adam Sandler I won't watch.
Oh yeah, well I only watch
probably the good Adam Sandler movies.
Have you seen Uncut Gems?
No, I haven't.
Oh, then you don't watch all Adam Sandler movies.
To it.
All right.
Funny
Don't watch
People's
Uncut
one that
Gems,
comes to
Tivis.
mind that I will
Tivis,
never
you will
watch
have
again.
a heart attack if you watch that movie.
You would absolutely hate it for sure, 100%.
You will dislike it, and you will just something in your brain will crack. That movie is stress filled to the my goodness. Anyways,
I don't like stress.
No, that movie is literally just anxiety. Is like the
anxiety
that could be
and tension. The movie.
Yeah.
So
I do want to clear that up. Like, because I studied film, a lot of people have this thing. Like, I'm probably like, you don't like it because you don't, it's like, no, I do like things to be well made.
Well,
like, I don't necessarily need, I can turn off my analytic brain for some things, and be like, yeah, it's not good, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I feel like this was almost there, and it just kind of sailed over a little bit, where I'm like, I don't necessarily think I would watch it again.
Yeah.
But
let's get into our other person. As for the other person, though, real quick, on the podcast right now that has studied film too, I would just like to say, I didn't give a shit about the stories not being full or anything. It was just entertaining to me. I know it's such a basic ass thing.
Kenny, what are your overall thoughts of the movie then?
What?
What are your overall thoughts of the movie?
I mostly like the comedy about it. Most, yeah, they're a bunch of, kind of dumb, short jokes, but it's enjoyable.
Okay. Would you watch it again?
Yeah, I've actually watched it twice already.
Oh, all right. That's more than me.
I watched it when it came out, and then I watched it last night before this, just so I can re-up what I was seeing.
I was gonna watch it with the commentary, but my mother-in-law borrowed it.
Oh, don't do that.
On Netflix, dude.
On Netflix, don't have to borrow it.
She doesn't have Netflix.
Well,
no, but you do.
Give her your password. Everybody does it
because I have to go over there and log in.
I watched it on Blu-ray the first night, and then VHS partially on black and white, and then I watched it on Netflix just to give it one more viewing on Netflix for those ratings.
I think it's number 5 in all their shows right now.
Which is good because
It was
I
like
thought
number
Wednesday
one
was going to
in-
come out.
It was #1 in horror on Amazon for like 2 days or something like that.
Yeah, but like
Just
it's
crazy for like Halloween time coming up. I wouldn't have thought this would be #1 in horror.
Oh, they probably released it before October so that it wouldn't get overshadowed by the actual horror movies.
Yeah, and it came out right before. Was it Hocus Pocus 2 just came out?
Yeah, same week.
Yesterday.
Same week.
Which, real quick on that, if you like the first one, chances are you'll like the second one. We had fun with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoy. Look, I have some nitpicks here and there, but overall, I had so much fun with this. My wife enjoyed it. She's hoping that there's a second one, even, which is shocking for her. Because when we started doing this, she couldn't care less. And so
I got a question. Did it remind you of Halloween Town at all?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
We talking about the Munsters,
I've never
right?
seen Halloween Town all the way through, so I was just curious.
You've never finished Halloween Town?
I've never seen Halloween
I'm a grown
Town.
ass adult, Kenny. Come on.
I've never seen Halloween Town either at all.
You watched an entire season of Power Rangers for Operation Babel.
Yeah, I'm a grown ass adult. Power Rangers are adult. Halloween Town is not.
Not that I have room to talk. Anyone who can see what's behind me. It is a bit.
No offense to those who like Halloween Town.
Kind of more, especially at the end scene with the whole Halloween stuff in Mockingbird Lane. That was very much Halloween Town-esque.
Actually, I got more.
I got so much more I love about this. The meeting Mr. Gateman and stuff, and the reference to them moving into Mockingbird Lane. That's why they have a party every year in the second movie.
Yeah. I honestly, for Mockingbird Lane, I got more of vibes of Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
Sounds all perfect and
Town's all perfect, and you have that one piece of shit castle thing right up there.
We want this one sold.
Right.
No, you can't talk me out of it. Sold.
What did you think about that? Because they had a shifty ass realtor person, which they've had multiple times in the show.
Yeah.
So I caught that one. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
I saw Grandpa chatting her up in the party.
Yeah. We thought she was a real witch.
All
right. Make sure I got everything in my notes here. Airplane stuff. Throwback to mini Munsters. Did you said that, Tivis, right?
No, I did.
No?
We didn't talk about the airplane at all.
So the airplane stuff reminded me of like in mini Munsters when their cousins or nephews get off the plane. No one else was there. And they were coming down. So I was like, oh, that's kind of a.
We got the reference of everyone bolting and
Yeah.
the flight attendant jumping out, which I think happened in the. Just like, oh, our flight attendant jumped out. We don't have any service.
That was one of the funniest moments to me. It was when she delivered his second Shirley Temple, and she was wearing the helmet because she was about to jump out of the plane, and he goes, statistically, air travel is the safest of all travel, and she just walks away, and then you just see the big gust of wind, and that was the funniest moment in the whole
Grandpa's
movie.
playing cards, they go flying everywhere. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
When they're getting off the plane, did you see the people in the background getting off in the back, just like look like zombies?
Yeah,
they're just like scared.
And the whole, will you come with us, Igor thing? It was kind of like, okay, so is he going to become the bat that we know and love from the show, or is he become the hateful Igor we saw in the second movie?
He goes with them. He turns into a bat.
He does, but I mean, the whole conversation of, will you?
They really explain him turning into the bat.
Yeah, he gives him a He's like, I love that scene too. Oh my god, I love this movie.
See, and it's something cool because we always wondered, is this Igor in the series like the bat wasn't an actual person before? And this kind of like, if you disregard the 81 film, you're like, yeah, it totally makes sense, dude.
Well, he's like, here, drink this potion. He's like, oh, at my age, I don't know if I could handle the side effects. Oh, side effects, which is the throwback to how often he uses his family as guinea pigs.
He couldn't use Igor anymore, so he started using Eddie. That's poor Eddie.
And Herman, because easy target.
Did you guys like the fact that they did not have them kiss on the lips, as the show never had them kiss on the lips?
I guess I never really.
Too.
I guess I never.
I never paid attention.
I never noticed that either.
Yeah, it's always on the cheek,
or just air kiss, pretty much for a couple of them.
Yeah.
I guess to summarize my thoughts, I had some nitpicks here and there, but I loved this. I had so much fun, just fun with it. I believe, Mike, you're the one who kind of compared this to Ernest, which is another series that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Like, it was like, yeah, because I saw people shitting on it. I'm like, y'all are the same people who like Ernest. Like, you can't like Ernest and not like this. Because even Ernest, you know, some of Ernest stuff, you're just like,
it's
what's
overly
the story
cheesy
here?
Like there's a few things I wish they would have tightened up or toned down a little bit of the stuff. Mm-hmm. But again, overall, I'm going to watch this so often. I'm going to put this in our Halloween rotation every year, honestly.
Yeah, Nick said to put this in our Halloween rotation for us too. So I didn't have to do that. It's just there now. Austin, did you give all your final thoughts, man? And you can say whatever you want to say. Don't worry.
I think I talked about all the notes that I had. But yeah, like I said at the beginning, or some point in this, I said I didn't go into this thinking I was going to like anything about it. Like I thought from the trailer that I saw, I was like, this is absolute dog shit. Like I do not think there's going to be one thing about this thing redeeming. But when I watched it, there were some. The only way I could see myself watching this again is with like my niece or like future children or whatever, you know, like like the only reason I would watch that is with somebody age appropriate. I don't personally think I would want to watch it again.
Okay.
Yeah, go watch it with the man child of the movie.
Yeah. So like, I mean, my final thoughts. I liked the film. I didn't love it. It's not like my favorite film of all time. Clearly not. I do like the aesthetic of the film. I love the colors. I love all that stuff. I really loved 80s films because of the same kind of color palettes that they used to use with, you know, neon lights here. Not neon lights, but like pink lights, green lights, red lights, blue lights. Hell, Highlander 2, I think, had like so many crazy different lights. It was weird.
Dude, I can't get over Dr. Wolfgang's laboratory. That was so cool to me. But then again, it reminded me of the TARDIS. So
yeah. So I mean, I just love the aesthetic, love the sets, how almost cheesy they are, you know, like they just remind me of like old, like, you know, B sci-fi horror film, or not horror films, but like B sci-fi films and shit like that. I'm a big fan of like Iron Sky too, so like anytime I see things that look cheap, I like it. For some reason, it's just the aesthetics there, it pleases me, versus like if I see bad CG on like an Avengers movie, then I'm just like, really, guys, I know you can afford this, like, but this one I was like, yeah, I like this, it's cool. I really want to know the budget of this film. I highly doubt we're ever gonna know it. At least for another year or two until they decide to release
we're more
it.
likely to find out the budget for this than a lot of other Netflix projects, because Netflix doesn't like to talk for some reason.
Well, this isn't technically a Netflix original either.
I know, that's why I'm saying we're more likely to.
Right. As far as the acting goes, like I said, you know, Daniel Roebuck nailed it. Jeff Daniel Phillips was like key character for me. Like I just love the acting. Yeah, the voice cracks were weird, but to me I was just like, you know, as Tivis talked to him actually a few months back, he said, you know, I'm doing the character in my own way. It's not Fred, because nobody is Fred.
And I didn't necessarily expect him to be Fred, but I thought the voice cracks was weird. It was a weird character choice.
For some reason, though, a lot of the internet thinks that these actors should act exactly as the originals. I'm like, that's never going to happen. That was like magic in a bottle that you're never going to capture
and
with
there's
the same franchise, those same people.
And every time you've like cast different people in roles of iconic characters, they're going to be different.
Yeah.
Like
Star Trek does it.
Star Trek does it. Harry Potter does it. You know,
Doctor Who does it with the audios.
Yeah, it's like like just because somebody made it famous, you're going to be criticized more for trying to be somebody you're not and failing at it than just doing a new spin on it. And I don't necessarily hate like the spin of his Herman.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have just taken away the voice cracks, I would have been 100% on board with it. The voice cracks was so distracting.
Yeah.
To me.
I can see that. Yeah, I understand for sure. As far as like some of the other actors go, I loved them. I loved almost everybody in the film. I've seen them in so many movies though throughout time, and Sherry, she wasn't what I would envision Lily, but I mean, it is what it is.
How do you
the
like
mannerisms
her?
Were just too much for me. I think it was just too much of the mannerisms.
How do you like her using her vampire powers with her rage? Because I mean, we have seen Lily's rage in the show a couple times now, where she's just uppercutted Herman to knock him out.
It was an interesting take because like there is lore for vampires to have some kind of power sometimes, and I mean her dad is Dracula,
Sam.
Yes, Sam Dracula. She's part of the family, and he does magic, so there's no reason why she wouldn't learn magic in the 150 years that she's been alive.
Yeah. Before we sign off, I wanted to. You mentioned earlier about the article that that said that he wanted to shoot it in black and white, but Universal wouldn't let him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his Facebook page, like he shared that article.
Yeah.
And in the comments, somebody had said that I wish the Count would have had his iconic cigar.
Yeah.
And Rob Zombie responded to the comment, and he said that Universal also wouldn't allow him to have the cigar.
Doing the whole no smoking thing, even though other people are lightening up.
No smoking kids movies.
So I shared that. I took a screenshot of that and sent it to Myke.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to send it to you, Tivis. So sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. As long as it gets out there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I could totally see it because it's a kids movie. But
I didn't even think about it, honestly.
People do gotta remember the only reason it was part of the character was because Al Lewis loved to smoke, so he was like, "I'm gonna smoke. I don't care."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm surprised Herman never became what?
It was the 60s, so they didn't care.
Yeah, the 60s, everybody smoked.
I'm surprised they didn't set that set on fire more often.
Yeah. They probably did. They just didn't show it to us. But yeah, no, it was a fine film for a Munsters adapt. This is the first one that I've seen without the original 3 cast members, anyways. Because in the last Munsters film that we just talked about, they had a different Eddie and a different Marilyn again. But we'll be watching others with different cast members. But this was the first time I got to see someone else portray Herman outside
Lily
of Fred.
Grandpa.
Yeah.
And Lily.
Yeah. So this was the first time seeing those characters portrayed outside of that. And I didn't hate it.
No.
We'll see what I think of the other characters or the other actors
of the
who played them too.
3 that we've seen, how would you rank them?
Of the 3 films?
Yeah.
Have you two seen the other 2 films yet or no?
I haven't watched them yet.
No. Okay. Well, I would
so
go.
This is just for
66 is number 1.
Here, Monsters Go Home.
Munsters Go Home, or Munster Go Home. Then I would go with this one, and then Munster's Revenge, because Munster's Revenge and this one were kind of like both like they don't make sense story wise. There's no real point in there. Like Munster's Revenge. That's another thing is after seeing Munster's Revenge and then watching this with the story just everywhere, you're just kind of like, it's kind of about the same par.
I would put them in the exact same order. And I think the whole Munster Go Home was just really good. Like just overall really good. So it's going to be hard pressed for anything to top that. But I truly believe, I'm sorry, Daniel, this one isn't going to be the top movie for me, but it is a very close second.
Dude, I doubt this is his top Munsters film. And he's in it. So
well, remember when he was on our show, he said this is going to be the number one.
But not for himself. He didn't say that.
Do you guys think that Rob Zombie's going to make a sequel?
That's hard to say. Honestly.
It depends on how the numbers do. It depends on the numbers. Because, I mean, if you guys remember his Halloween, he ended that movie. It was supposed to be it. That was it. It was supposed to be one and done. But it did decently in the theaters and shit.
But would that sour him working with this over, his shoulder company again?
Look.
That's part of filmmaking.
Yeah, it's just filmmaking. At least he's not working with Weinstein anymore. So,
yeah, it feels like this one's a lot more restrictive for some reason. I can't even fathom why, because they don't even fucking put a commercial out there on TV.
Well, it's more restrictive for a couple reasons. One, like he said, it is a beloved franchise, and you can't do too much to it. Otherwise,
the company doesn't beloved it.
But
I think they learned their lesson from the 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
Clearly, they haven't.
But also it's a children's movie, so you're always going to be fighting for when adults are making a movie that is target audience to children. There's just going to be some things that you're not going to be allowed to do, no matter how hard you fight for it. It's just. Yeah. That's just the nature of filmmaking and the dealing with producers.
Yeah.
Now, as Kenny, have you seen other Rob Zombie movies? I don't know.
Not in recent history.
All right, so this is just
I have before, just not.
Okay, this could work for you too. Then I'm curious, since this is his first venture into the family-friendly comedy type world. Mm-hmm. How do you think he did that? Do you think he should stick to horror or
compared
do more
to
like
what
this?
He did before?
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe venture into other genres. How do you?
This is better than his last 3 films.
What were his last 3 films?
31,
3 from Hell. I don't remember the one before.
I don't know, but I can't remember exactly, but I'm guessing this I enjoyed more than I enjoyed his last couple horror films, for sure.
I'm just trying to get a gauge because I'm not a fan of horror, so I don't really
Lords of Salem
care for too much of his.
Definitely better than Lords of Salem. That movie was awful.
Would you like to see him do more in other genres, basically?
I mean, so he has done like I said, he did an episode of CSI. Miami, I think it was, and
more films.
But for film wise, I would like to see him try and do a kids movie that he doesn't write, that someone else has written the script for already, and let's see what that family film looks like. Like, let someone else write the sequel to this Munsters thing and let him direct it.
Yeah,
because he's got the passion for the macabre and the horror people and all that stuff, and he's got the passion for the Munsters, so he knows what to put in there in the backgrounds and all that stuff. But as far as writing the story and everything like that, I'm not sure if he's there yet to write a perfect family friendly film. Like I've said before, my favorite top-notch Rob Zombie movie, story and aesthetic and everything, is still Devil's Rejects for me.
Devil's Rejects and a House of a Thousand Corpses for me are the 2 films of his that I actually would rewatch and have rewatched.
I've watched Devil's Rejects way more than any of his other films. It's just on my top par of like it's a good like horror film almost. It's kind of like if you mix horror with Fast and the Furious, you got the family aspect to it a little bit right there. So, I mean, like it has everything, and there's a lot more character development and stuff in that film than most horror films that center around the killers, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it actually, it makes you feel for the killers too. It shows them as a family aspect and the family aspect and all that stuff. So, when they made 3 from Hell, I was kind of upset because I thought they ended it just perfectly with Devil's Rejects. And I watched 3 from Hell recently and I was just like, oh man,
it's not good.
Yeah. The way they come back to, I was just like, it reminds me of a Halloween film. Like, yeah, we're just going to make some shit up to bring them back to life.
And, what's his name? Sid
Haig passed away.
Haig, yeah. Sid Haig passed away, and you could tell in that movie he was like, yeah.
He was ready to pass. He wasn't doing too good.
I mean, it was nice to see him one more time, but at the same time, it was just like he obviously wasn't able to give
the performance
that he could have if they had made this film a year or 2 earlier.
Yeah. Oh, Drew, him in that clown makeup in the first one, he's like, did I stutter, bitch? Is it the first one? Or the second?
I think that's Devil's Rejects.
Devil's Rejects, yeah.
Yeah.
And he just like leans in real close and he's like, did I stutter, bitch? It's just like a perfect scene. Oh man. Anyways, that's enough about that. I could go for days on that film.
Yeah, I was just trying to gauge your guys' opinions on it.
I would like to see him stretch his legs more.
Yeah.
Because I think he's a horror director. I mean, he wants to be known as a horror director. That's what he's passionate about. But I feel like there are subgenres of that you could delve into where you can stretch your legs and not be so like I have to be gore porn.
Yeah. You could do a Casper. Do a Casper movie. Rob Zombie's Casper.
I haven't had a Casper in a while.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's about time for a new one.
Because I could just imagine the cast that he would pick for Fatso, Stinky, and Stretch. Already in my head. They're already in my head.
We need a reboot to Casper and Wendy.
No. That was made by like probably a 1440 Universal's type of production company too.
It's probably Tivis's top 10 favorite films.
No, it's not top 10. But it's definitely my number 2 Casper movie. I didn't care for that second one.
Has Hilary Duff as Wendy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then one of her witch aunts is actually the girl who plays the mean chick from the first Casper movie, the original Casper film
really?
With Christina Ricci.
It's been such a long time since I've seen any Casper.
I shouldn't know these things, but clearly I've seen that movie way too many times too.
Now,
okay, so maybe just disregard everything I said about this Munsters film because clearly I just have a bad taste in everything.
Now, you said you would like someone else to write the next one. Who would you see as a good writer?
So wait,
screenwriter.
First let me preface that with let me preface it with like a Kevin Smith. Good director, okay writer sometimes, depending on the subject matter. But when he does other people's stuff, I think sometimes he can do it better because he's not too attached to the script itself.
It's funny that you bring up Kevin Smith because as we were talking about it, I feel like those two are, in my mind, very similar in their career paths. They're very indie. They can't get funding to things. Their early stuff was pretty much praised. You know, their early stuff, everyone was like, these guys are going to be forces of nature in the directing world. But they kind of both became parodies of themselves, in my opinion.
I can see that.
Where they kind of cannibalized their style, and it becomes this really reduced version of themselves. Like, I just saw Clerks 3, and I think Clerks 3 is the closest Kevin Smith has come to being like his old self. And this, I feel like, is similar to like Clerks 3, where it's like, it's not exactly his franchise, but you could tell that it was a franchise that meant a lot to him, and he put a lot into it.
Yeah. And actually, now that you say that too, even the aesthetic for this reminds me of some of what like Kevin Smith did with Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Right
there. Which also didn't really have a big point. The best part of that movie was when you get Ben Affleck in there, and they do the one scene. That scene made me.
Yeah, so
that's also my favorite movie.
I feel like Rob Zombie could be a better director.
Yeah.
I feel like if, like, to answer your question, to stretch out your legs is to get out of that comfort zone that these people get into. And that when they get in that comfort zone, when they get into that, that this is what a Rob Zombie movie is. This is what a Kevin Smith movie is.
Right.
Not necessarily that they're bad. It's just that they're just, sometimes they are bad. Like Yoga Hosers, not good.
For both directors too. Even Yoga Hosers is fun though. I will say it's not a great movie at all, but it's fun. But I will say, like, yeah, like they both have same kind of trajectory or career paths so far and everything. I mean, even like with Kevin Smith when he did his horror stuff, like his first horror film was, or quote unquote horror film, was Red State.
Red State was so good. Red State's
fucking good.
Red State's great. And that was the last movie before his quote unquote retirement. And after that is when he went to this, like, the Kevin Smith that we have today, where it is like, because like that was the last time he made a movie and it didn't do well. And he was just like, I'm done making movies. And then when he decided to come back, is when he was just like, I'm just going to make the movies that I want to make, and they are going to be weird. And, that's when he made like Tusk and Yoga Hosers.
And Red State also is a good example too of, not letting a director have a big budget to do what they wanted to do, because he actually wanted to have the 4 Apocalypse people show up at the end of that movie, and I was like, oh dear God, I'm glad you didn't have the budget to do that. I'm sorry.
So I feel like I hope that Rob Zombie does get to make more of this kind of movie, because this is not a type of movie he's ever made before.
He needs a couple to get going to see how it's going to work.
Let me rephrase my question then. Who do you think would be the best partner for Rob Zombie to write the next one? That they would be able to work together?
Me.
I'll give a crack at it.
I'll write one. I'll do what the first Munsters movie did. I'll just take everything from the show and put it in there.
Mr. Zombie, you heard it here. You got 2 people throwing their name in that.
Some writers, I don't know. I would have to think about that more.
For a Munsters film? If we had a sequel to the Munsters film, who would we want to write it and let Rob Zombie direct it?
Yes.
I mean, it has to be... I can hear people out there right now saying, Seth Rogen, I want to shoot you. Because that's not a good no.
For those who don't know, I have a one-sided blood feud with Seth Rogen.
We don't need Grandpa finally showing up with his cigar and it's like a big ass freaking blunt.
No, Seth Rogen, no. It would. I don't necessarily think it has to be somebody like horror side. It could. I think it would be any kind of comedic writer. I feel like would be good. If we got like maybe like someone like BJ Novak, or you know somebody who's known for like comedy writing, I feel like would be good for it.
See, I would go, I know Rob has been like, this is a gateway to horror, but for me, it was a gateway to sitcom. So I would go more sitcom-y and say Bill Lawrence. He's so good with like character stuff.
Yeah, Bill Lawrence could do a good job with it. But he doesn't do movies. I don't think he's ever done a movie. No. So I don't know if he would ever do that. I mean, he probably would for the right price, but I feel like Bill Lawrence could do it because he's also very good at balancing that tone between like serious and comedy, and you could easily tweak that into being like the macabre elements and comedy. So I feel like Bill Lawrence could do it.
Give me the writers who wrote the first 2 episodes of WandaVision.
All right, give me a second.
I think it's just one person wrote the whole show.
I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, do them. Or George Lopez, since he seems to do good for Herman. Lily.
Jack Schaefer and Gretchen Enders.
Yeah.
Did the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. Do those 2. Have them write something for us, because they have love, it looks like, in their writing to pay homage to something classic like that.
Yeah.
Kenny, do you have, I know you're more on the spectrum of me compared to these 2, but do you have anyone?
I just watch this shit. I don't know them people.
Right, basically.
All right.
Well, nothing? Nobody? You don't have any, like, give us a show or a movie that you think the writing is good on.
I don't know.
Todd McFarlane.
Vince Gilligan.
Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon.
If you want to see a Munsters movie worse than any Munsters movie ever, hire Vince McMahon.
Here we go, guys.
Just watch any of the Fiends arc.
Quentin Tarantino's last film, Munsters.
No, that's got to be Star Trek. Just to upset Mike.
I'm interested to see if he ever gets his Star Trek film made.
I don't think it's ever going to get made.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, no, like there just has to be a good team of people for him to work with, and not saying that the people that worked with him on this weren't good or anything like that, but Rob also does, like, as Austin said, same with Kevin Smith and shit like that. They're more indie guys, so a lot of the indie guys write their stuff, shoot their stuff, and that's it.
And it saves money that way.
Yeah, it saves a lot of money.
Which is why they do it.
Right. So I can understand why they do that stuff. You don't have to pay for a script. You don't have to worry about all these licensings of who owns what and all that crap, or what you can do with the script later. Clearly, Universal owns all the Munster stuff, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, well, it kind of does, because they're not fucking doing shit with it.
All right, we're not going down this road again. They're starting to do stuff. We got Carnival, although they're not putting it out for some reason. It doesn't make sense, but okay.
Maybe after the new Universal Park.
Nope, it won't happen. Anything else on the Munsters film, guys, by Rob Zombie? Anybody have
that you didn't get to say?
I think I said all my thoughts.
Okay. I do recommend people go and watch this. This isn't my week recommend, because hopefully you freaking watched it already before you listen to us talk. There's not much to spoil in this. There's like a few funny jokes and stuff, but you really can't spoil this film.
There's nothing happens in this film.
There you go.
Did you have anything else, Kenny?
Not really. I actually do have to watch this with my kids, because I didn't watch it with my kids.
You watched this twice without your kids? You are a bad parent. I'll probably see it with his kids before he does, and I'm 1,200 miles away.
I froze.
Uh-oh. He's falling away. All right.
It just looks like he's just really sad.
Yeah, he's just like, oh crap.
I'm a bad dad.
I don't know what's going on now because you guys can still hear me, but my camera.
We can still hear you. Just talk, dude. It's a podcast. It's not a video cast.
Well, I mean,
I'll leave that closed.
Yeah. All right. That said, guys, we appreciate both of you guys for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for joining our anniversary show.
Yeah, thank you for celebrating 1 year of podcasting on the Munster Cast. You guys can also check out our other podcast coming back soon. Hopefully, is Operation Babel on all audio streaming services and on the Myke Shrews YouTube channel if you want to see our pretty ugly faces there. You can do what is it? You can go to TheMunsterCast.com and see everything that we do there. You know, videos, podcasts, all that fun stuff. And then you can also go to TheMunsterCast.com/merch to purchase any of our... Jeez, I'm tangled up now. Purchase any of our shirts that we have there. More are to come as we are able to get them out, guys. You can also find the MunsterCast on all social media platforms via the MunsterCast and on YouTube via the MunsterCast YouTube channel, where you can see our pretty ugly faces all the time, 24/7. And we're also uploading other content there as well. Not just the podcast episodes, so that people can check out like a trailer of what we're about to watch, or extra random videos that we find Munster related or Universal Monster related too. As far as that goes, you can also leave us a review on all your podcast services of choice, and or on YouTube. Is that right? Yeah. You can contact us.
Comment, thumbs up, thumbs down,
up, whatever. Comment, all that other fun crap as well. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long day today. Usually we do this at the beginning. And you can also email us at themunstercast@outlook.com for any questions, concerns. We've actually had a few of them. I hope this episode answers one of our emails that we had about asking if we were going to talk about the Munsters. And I'm trying to pull up, make sure I have everything out. And they also asked if we were going to talk about the comic books. Yes, we are going to talk about the comic books eventually.
That's on our list of things.
Yeah, it's on our list of things to get to. So
little behind the scenes peek. We're like constantly in flux with what we're doing come November. We know how we're going to end the year, but as for November and
December,
a little bit of October, it's kind of changing as we go here and there. But
and what are we doing next week? Or no, wait, before we get into that, Kenny, any final words for coming on to the show?
No, just thanks for having me.
You never talk when you come on to these podcasts.
I'm sorry.
You need a personality. And Austin, do you have anything to pitch to us today, my man? Same stuff?
Same stuff. I'm an amateur photographer. I do mainly film photography. You can follow me on my Instagram, where it's Austin Mosher Photos. I do some video stuff for my friend who owns a recording studio here, and he has a YouTube channel called Backstage at Bigfoot, where we do like a kind of a half podcast, half interview, half a live performance show. We only have one episode up currently, but we're working on the second. So
awesome.
You can check us out and follow us there. But yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always fun to be in here and talk whatever with you guys.
Yeah, anytime Austin comes on, it kind of turns into a somewhat of a Operation Babel episode. We get a little sidetracked with other.
I feel like we were on track today for.
I felt like it was appropriate for the movie.
Yeah, appropriate for the movie, especially with the director and stuff like that. So we did pretty good.
We went
And
on
if
a little
that talk
Kevin Smith.
interests you,
We went on a little Kevin
Yeah.
Smith
I think
rabbit
his
hole.
name has to come up though when he is kind of like a Rob Zombie, you know.
Yeah, they're very
He
similar.
just didn't do music first.
if this kind of conversations interest you, check out Operation Babel and look forward to it returning soon, hopefully.
Hopefully before Halloween, because I want to do a Halloween episode.
Oh, we're definitely doing a Halloween episode. But maybe before then, we'll see.
Yeah. Also, guys, next week we will be talking about Marineland Carnival. It's Munsters Visit Marineland. If you can, definitely go out and order the DVD now. You can purchase it now. It's for sale the day this comes out. This podcast comes out. It is themunstercast.com/Marineland Carnival is where you can purchase it. We get a few pennies if you guys go to those specific links there. And then
he literally means pennies.
Yeah, literally pennies. But any penny helps, you know?
Yeah, every little bit helps.
So yeah, that goes for next week is Marineland Carnival, and we'll discuss all that stuff.
Since we didn't mention it, if you would like to give us a little more than pennies, we also have a Patreon. Nothing special in there. It's basically just a tip jar. Don't feel obligated.
Yep. Sometimes I post some photos and crap in there too, and you get access to our Discord as well.
Yeah, which
we'll be using come next year a lot more for some special content that I am setting up for everybody.
So that content sizzling in the background.
What's that?
Hear that content sizzling in the background there?
All right, guys, for this week's recommendation, because we watched The Munsters, everyone should have watched it. If you haven't, of course, go watch it. I also recommend the first Hocus Pocus film.
And I also recommend the first Hocus Pocus film.
So go watch that, especially because the second one came out. So watch this one first because I recommend it, damn it. And then
also, it's the better one because hardly ever anything sequel is better than the first, other than Empire.
And since we did a recommend and we barely ever have guests on,
and
do you guys have recommends for people to go out and watch? Something we try and keep it kind
themed.
of related, somewhat macabre-ish.
It should be easy. It's the month of October.
Right.
I wish I would have planned something. I could have figured something, but I don't really.
Okay.
I don't really have anything I can pull out of the top of my head.
Well, you said Young Frankenstein earlier.
Yeah, Young Frankenstein. I guess I'll throw that one out there because if you found that joke funny, go find where they stole it from. It's much funnier.
You found the whole premise of how Herman was created. Awesome. Kenny, what about you, man? Anything?
No, not different than you guys because we actually just did the double feature last night.
Okay.
Hocus Pocus.
Of Hocus Pocus.
I do have one more actually. This one's a bit harder to find, and it's in the archives.
Yeah.
The archives of Disney now that they bought Fox, but Christopher Lloyd's When Good Ghouls Go Bad. I love this one when it aired on TV, and it's really hard to find now. So if you can find it, snatch it up.
Awesome. Sweet, man. And one more time, guys, definitely go out and get that Remind magazine. I can't do it. Remind magazine from themunstercast.com/remindmag, MAG. And that will have some cool articles in there to tell about the Munsters and a bunch of other stuff in there. All right, guys. Tivis, any last words today? Thank you guys so much for coming on with us, and hopefully it's not the last time you guys come on. So
it's been a fun year.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the next one.
Awesome. All right, guys. With that said, thank you very much, and we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
Oh, I thought everyone was going to do it.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You black or yellow or white, it doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.